For years, criminals used women's hosiery as a mask to hide their identities. But today, to a forensic scientist, hosiery can be as valuable as a fingerprint because of its signature characteristics. And textile science identified a killer when an eyewitness couldn't. In the small Midwestern town of Herrin, Illinois, murder was like a virtual stranger. It's so rare that police thought this 911 call was a prank.
911 emergency.
To the store in the amount of $14.30, signed by one of the store's customers. When police contacted the woman, she said she was in the store that morning, but no one was there. She found her clothes, wrote a check for the amount she owed, and was about to leave when a man came out of the back room and asked if she needed help.
She told him at that point that she was there to get her cleaning. She assumed that he was an employee there. She had no reason to believe otherwise.
The witness described the man as 30 to 35 years old, 6 foot 2 inches tall, and weighing over 200 pounds.
The police realized that she had come face to face with the killer.
A customer of the dry cleaning store said she got a good look at the man who was, most likely, Kathy Woodhouse's killer.
We were very excited in that we thought we did have a potential witness as to who the perpetrator may have been. I also thought she very well may have been extremely lucky that things happened the way they did and she was not killed at that point in time.
Police used her description to create a sketch, which was distributed to the local media. An autopsy revealed that Kathy Woodhouse died from blunt force trauma to the head.
She received 3 blows to the left side of her head because there was 3 separate lacerations to the left side of the head. So that the mop wringer fit the bill as far as its weight, its mass, the variety of surfaces. And when you look at the mop wringer itself, there was at least one part of the mop wringer metal which was bent.
She had also been sexually assaulted. Unfortunately, biological material collected from the rape test kit could not identify the killer's blood type because he was what's known as a non-secretor.
A non-secretor does not secrete their ABO blood type into their secretion.
He did those type of calls a couple times a month. He was very nervous about that, which is understandable.
He said he knew Kathy because he was a customer of the dry cleaning store, but insisted he had nothing to do with her murder. But investigators weren't so sure. Police investigating the murder of Kathy Woodhouse were worried. It looked like the attack was random.
Something that it literally scares people to death. They're not accustomed to this type of crime.
We truly feared that he would possibly strike again and kill another woman, and it was basically a race against time.
Police thought they had their killer when they found a construction worker who made an obscene telephone call to Kathy Woodhouse on the night before the murder. But he said he had an alibi, that he was teaching a class at a local community college on the morning of the murder.
We were able to confirm his search. I lifted up the mattress on his bed and immediately saw a pair of women's pantyhose with one leg missing lying on top of 2 pornographic magazines.
Then police remembered. The piece of pantyhose they found on the ground outside the dry cleaning store. Was it possible it was cut from the pair found in Taylor's home?
It really raised my curiosity because now I've seen some physical evidence that may connect him with the crime scene.
Police sent both pieces to forensic microscopist Glenn Schubert.
The first exam I did physically then was to try and match up the edges in what we call a physical match.
But the ends were too frayed for any sort of comparison. But under a microscope, Schubert was able to find similarities.
I was able to determine that they were both similar knit, a jersey stitch knit pattern.
Next, using high magnification, Schubert found another striking similarity. Both pieces contained some unique chemical properties.
The titanium dioxide is the small little dots that appeared in the microscope. Those are just particles they put in synthetic fibers to keep them from being too shiny. And in this particular case, there was a moderate amount of the titanium dioxide delustrant particles in both samples.
To see if the colors were the same, Schubert turned to microspectral photometry.
The spectra that I observed from these fibers was very unique. It had several peaks, which is...
To the dry cleaning store to commit robbery, sexual assault, murder, or all of the above.
It would be speculation on our part as to whether he'd actually planned on killing her or not. He didn't bring a weapon with him. However, he did apparently have the stocking with him.
The evidence suggests Taylor wore the pantyhose over his head as a disguise. He forced Kathy Woodhouse to the back room of the store and sexually assaulted her. Then he heard someone enter the store. It was a customer who found her dry cleaning and wrote a check for the amount she owed. Taylor needed to make sure she didn't look in the back room. So he removed the disguise, walked out, and asked her if she needed help. Afterwards, he may have realized Kathy Woodhouse could identify him, so he killed her with the mop wringer. He left his left palm print on a plastic garbage bag in the back room. Then he took $3 from Kathy's purse and left the store, but dropped the pantyhose outside. A few blocks away, he called 911 and left his fingerprint on the receiver.
I can't tell you why Paul Taylor made the 911 call. Sometimes they'll do it to taunt the police, to try to show them they can get by with something, or the reaction that they may get.
When faced with the forensic evidence against him, Paul Taylor confessed.
He did not hesitate much about telling us that he did kill her. He told her that he was going to rob her. He stated that he did take $3 from her purse, but he denied having sexually assaulted her.
Investigators discovered Taylor was a non-secretor, consistent with the biological samples from the rape test kit. And they told Taylor they didn't believe.
Is a classic example of all the law enforcement community working together, from the local police departments to the sheriff's department to the state's attorney's office to the crime lab.
I think in my 20 years, this is the most obvious case of a situation where, without the forensic evidence, we would not have had the probable cause to arrest Paul Taylor. He very probably would still be walking the streets, and there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that he would have killed again.